I recently posted this man in my YouTube community page. This is Joe Miller. Me and him have a kinship. I like to train in an unheated, unAC'd garage. He did the same thing. And in wintertime, he actually utilized the chest expander while it was blistering cold out. And I do the same thing in my home. So we're going to talk about who Joe Miller was and his training practices, because I had this gentleman here ask about what maybe he did for his training. So we're going to talk about how Joe Miller trained with the USA Weightlifting team in York, weighing 181, being a light heavyweight in 1932. So almost 100 years ago, we're going to talk about what his training style was. Joe Miller was an Olympic weightlifter and part of the American weightlifting team. He participated in the 1932 Olympics and 1936 Olympics, being Los Angeles and then Germany. The coach at the time was Mark H. Berry. Mark was born in 1896 and died in 1958. But this man trained many of all the time greats, including John Grimmick. He believed in heavy barbell and dumbbell exercises and a balanced diet of meat, vegetables, and milk that would produce the best results. He's actually the inventor of the 20-rep squat routine. The common fitness philosophy back in the day touted that calisthenics and light dumbbell systems were just about enough. Thanks a lot, Sandow. Just kidding. He may have sold us on the idea of light dumbbell systems working, but he lifted heavy weights too. Come on. Back to the story. But now we need to take a step back in time. So back in the day, the physical culture and fitness landscape was vastly different. So back, like now, we can just walk into any commercial gym and sign up and we have a gym to go to. Back then, it wasn't really like that. All the big gyms back then were in big metropolitan areas, Boston, Chicago, New York, these types of places. And if you were a New Yorker, you pretty much had it made. You could go to Sig Klein's gym, one of the best facilities on the planet at the time, located then on 717 7th Avenue. This place had it all. It had everything. It had all the heavy weights and specialized equipment. And if you lived in a less populated area, you'd be lucky to have a YMCA around that you could go to that would have the heavy weights and the tutelage of someone that could teach you. I just don't think that was the case for a lot of people. And back then, the work weeks were like 50 hours a week. And this was around the time of the Great Depression too. And this is what gave birth to the mail order muscle courses. Anthony Barker published the first American mail order courses in 1889. These consisted of 24 lessons that had illustrations, pictures, text that all described certain calisthenics moves done for 10 to about 15 minutes a day. It was also during that time that the light dumbbell system became popular, and so did the sale of our beloved chest expander and iron horseshoes and various other pieces of equipment. Is there a benefit to them? Yes, absolutely. And as far as the fitness world goes, something is always better than nothing. And when it comes down to having an athletic body, if you do something, something will happen. So these mail order courses were gaining extreme popularity. And at the time, you may have guessed this, but they were also misleading. So it would be like me saying, you too can have 18-inch biceps with the chest expander alone, and having me omit the fact that I have used other various training tools, techniques, regimens my entire adult life. Yes, the chest expanders have helped me maintain my strength and size while I don't hit the gym regularly or heavy weights, but it's all a tool in my tool belt, right? Those courses didn't explain this. So yeah, the truth is I mainly use chest expanders when it's cold outside in the wintertime, just like Joe Miller did. But it's not the only thing I've ever used. I've used dumbbells, barbells, body weight. I've used everything. And in knowing all this, I wanted to share this quote from John D. Fair with you guys from his book. In his book, Mr. America, The Tragic History of a Bodybuilding Icon, quote, unaware, scrawny young men, ignorant of the tricks of the trade and the commercial impetus behind them, trustfully parted with immense sums of money on courses, books, programs, pictures, apparatuses, promising to make them look like Greek gods and be able to take on the neighborhood bully. Unquote. So Mark H. Berry was not one to mislead. Okay, he was a very sensible guy and used sensibility in his training philosophy. And so this routine would be something that Joe Miller would probably have used since he was the coach of the weightlifting team. All right. So it's a 12-week full body course done 3 times a week, single set progressions. So the first exercise, and it's 12 exercises. The first exercise is a 2-arm curl, so a typical barbell curl. And this is all done with barbells, right? It's a weightlifting team. It's for barbells. So 2-arm curl, and this is how the progression went. It was a typical double progression, if you know what that means. So double progression would mean, let's say you start with 5 reps at a weight. You go up to 10 reps, then you add weight. So you're double progressing. You're progressing the reps you're doing, and you're also progressing the weight you do. Okay? So instead of like doing 3x5 for 8 weeks, you don't, since on 3x5 you're not increasing the 6, 7, 8. You're only increasing weight on 3x5. On double progressions, you're going to increase reps and you're going to increase weight. But until you get a certain rep range, you don't increase the weight yet. That's how you can double progress. And it's a great way to build strength other than just doing, triples and 5s and all that. So I use double progression quite a bit. It's a really good way to ensure you can do what you're going to do. So that being a century-year-old is amazing. Nothing new under the sun, guys. So yeah, number 1, 2-arm curl. Number 2, you're doing a 2-arm press, which is going to be just an overhead press. Number 3, they say a rowing motion with elbows wide. So your elbows are going to be in this motion versus close to your body. It's very wide elbows there. Number 4 is a 2-arm press prone, and that would be just a rudimentary or very barbaric bench press back then. They would sit you on something elevated, and you would do a bench press that way. Then you would do a shoulder shrug with the barbell. Number 6 is a deep knee bend and a regulation squat. So what this means is you would squat down on your tiptoes and your heels touching your butt. That would be what a squat looked like back then. Bar on your back, of course. Then number 7 is a side bend, and you keep that same bar on your back, and you go from 6 to 7, right? This is all in a row, okay? 1 set, the double progression, all in a row. And for upper body, it was 10 to 12, and for lower body, it was going up to about 20 reps. So for 12 exercises, this would be pretty intense. Like, it would get you going for 3 times a week. It'd be a fun one to try out. So after the side bends, you would do a 2-arm reverse curl, which is exactly what it sounds like. Nothing crazy wacky about that one. Number 9 is going to be a wrestler's bridge with a press as well. So you're doing a wrestling bridge with your neck, and you grab the barbell and you do a press with it. And then exercise 10 is going to be 3 things. They just put it all in one category, or Mark put it all in one category. You're doing forearms, something for your calves, and then abs. So in there, he just had you pick some of your favorite ones, or just typical forearm, wrist curl, standing calf raise, any crunch abdominal thing that you would want to do, or he would recommend. So that would be something Joe Miller would have done, because Mark H. Berry would have recommended it, being on the weightlifting team. And also, back then, they wanted you to have some gusto before you did actual skill-based weightlifting moves. So he wanted you to go through something like this and actually put some girth on yourself and show you had some fortitude before you went into training with a barbell as far as weightlifting went, which makes sense. You want way, in my opinion, you would want way more than 12 weeks of training under your belt before you tried the snatches, the clean and jerks, clean and presses, the Olympic lifts back then, heavy overhead stuff. Like heavy overhead just in general takes years of hard, diligent training to get. So just, in my opinion, you need both. So there we have it, guys. This is how Joe Miller would have most likely trained. And like I said, after he built his base with doing this style of work, then chest expander in the wintertime, and Bob Hoffman has mentioned quite a few times how impressive Joe Miller was with his size and stature when he came back from using chest expander alone in the wintertime. It's pretty cool. But yeah, Joe Miller would most likely be doing anything Mark H. Barry would have recommended because of the USA Weightlifting team coach involvement and influence there. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Quick little video on Joe Miller, someone who, I don't know, may have been forgotten, but I'm trying to help remember all these awesome people. This routine can be found in his 1930 book, Physical Training Simplified, The Complete Science of Muscular Development, published by the Milo Barbell Company.